Alrighty, so let's revisit the topic of what happens if one eyebrow is higher than the other and that you've been born this way. This is a topic that's been covered several times before, and we're going to revisit again today. So, anatomically, we're not symmetrical anyway. So if you put a line down through your face, one side is not exactly the same as the other. One part of your forehead has a slight curve and the other one is flatter. Therefore, you've heard of the old adage, eyebrows are sisters and not twins. And if you actually measure across on the axis here, your eyebrows are not at the same level either. So we wouldn't know this normally, and it's barely visible to the naked eye, only if you had a facial morphology done with us. And we've done 8 different courses in relation to facial morphology, and there's loads of different tools. Now, this looks like an instrument of torture, but I'll explain a lot of them to you now that we use when you come to have your eyebrows done. It's barely seen or barely noticeable for most people, but for certain people, it can be a little bit more extreme and far more noticeable, and it bothers them a lot. So why would you have one eyebrow higher than the other? So you could be born with it. You could have had an injury as a child. Invariably, this is a perfect place for children to get an injury, either through the eyebrow or just above it. And when they're raising their eyebrows, one eyebrow literally just doesn't go as high as the other. And you can have had a stroke. The older people, the one side of their face could be quite flaccid. And it could be overzealous use of Botox in the wrong hands. So people who are looking for brow lifts when they come to having their Botox, it could be overzealous, and you'd have the opposite effect, and actually the brow actually start to droop, and you'd have what they call a ptosis, where a ptosis is with the eye, but it kind of gives you that kind of a droop, and that would have been induced by overuse of Botox. I don't like to demonize Botox. Botox is our friend. I don't use it myself, but I've seen a lot of people who do use it, and it's absolutely fabulous and it looks brilliant on them. But where my industry is concerned, where I have seen Botox work so beautifully, is people who actually just can't lift that eyebrow to bring it online onto the same axis as the other one. And I do my best to lift the eyebrow because I can actually create hairs above the eyebrow here, remove the ones here and give the illusion of a lift. But I usually send those clients, once I've done the work, off to their Botox person and get a bit of Botox on that side to give it that little bit of an extra lift, and then it's on par with the other side. And it works very well, and it has worked very well. Generally stays where it is and the other one flies up and down. So I am an eyebrow talker, but they both come up to the same level. But just for the purpose of this video, I just want to show you, say for example, that this was the lower eyebrow. Usually what we do, an easy fix, you can use your pencils and powders. That's the easy fix. You don't have to come to me for that, although a lot of people do come for eyebrow styling. Is that this is the lower eyebrow. So you would concentrate with your pencil, your angled brush, your powders. I love this kit actually. It's absolutely fab. And with a holding mascara, brow mascara. So what you do, so if you are a pencil lover, I would suggest that you actually trim your pencil, not with a topper, but get a blade and trim it this way and trim it under this way so that you get a very, very slanted, I don't know if you can see it there. Yeah. Point. And so it's like this, but it's actually trimmed on both sides. And I would suggest that you use this pencil to draw in hairs above the eyebrow so that it gives the illusion that it's lifted up to this side. That's if you're a pencil lover. When you do that, you will actually make this eyebrow a little bit thicker. So therefore you will have to remove the brow hairs that are underneath here and continue to use your pencil every single day. So that's a daily thing. So if you if you're a pencil lover, which I am actually, I love using my pencil. Use your pencil. You'll do it every day. Get a good. So if you are a pencil lover, I would suggest that you actually trim your pencil. I don't know if you can see it there. So that it gives use your pencil A lot of people are not able for the powders, but the tip with the powders is, I actually bought this kit in Boots, I'm sure. It's absolutely fab because you can throw it into your handbag, and it includes a lighter powder, the darker powder, a wax, the brow mascara, and a fabulous application brush. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there, and I'm not affiliated with them. So what I usually do is that I dip my angled brush, and the most important thing is you pull it together like this so that you get an absolutely sharp point. So it's angled, but it's really sharp. You can barely see it. It's like a razor. Apply it into now this is the colour that I got. This is one that I tend to use if I'm sort of want a really subtle day, is to pop it in here into some of the wax and make sure that you use. So you use the darker part of the powder, usually from 2/3 of the brow up to the arch and to the tail. So, but we're using it for this purpose today, is to create a little bit more height above, and that's it. I would use the lighter one then for using along here towards the edge of the nose to give it that nice ombre look. Now this would be more suitable for blondes, this particular colour. Look, I'm not affiliated with this crowd, but I actually think this is absolutely amazing. And inside that as well then is the dotiest of brow mascaras to keep your eyebrow hairs in place. Now this is a clear gel, so it's not coloured. So the clear gel is ideal for anybody who's looking for a soft look. Brush upwards at the start of the brow, sideways at the bottom of the brow, and from the arch down to the tail, you brush downwards, and that keeps your eyebrow hairs in place. If you are looking for your eyebrow hairs to be coated every day, you can use an eyebrow mascara. This is a cheap one, Eyebrow Filler by Catrice, and it's actually like the Lash mascara, but it's just got a small wand and it can coat your hairs, particularly if you've got greys. I see a couple of greys in mine, and the tint, as you get older, the tint doesn't hold as long on those really coarse greys, so it might only last a day or two. So I use a brow mascara every day to coat those boys because they're bad boys. Okay, so what do you do if you don't want to do that every day? So what you do is we suggest that you book into us for a proper consultation in facial morphology. And what we'll do is that we will actually measure your face, use lots of different tools. I'm going to show you them now, and draw on the new perspective brow for you to go away to speak to your family about them and see what they think. And you get some time to think about it, and then you can book in for your microblading then at a later date. What we do also is that, okay, we would draw in your new perspective brow, and we would actually use a nude pencil to block out the hairs that we're underneath the brow that we're going to get rid of, so that you don't have one eyebrow thicker than the other. So here's the tools that we use. Alrighty, this is the first of the tools. It's a horizontal bead mapping ruler. So it's a bit like what your dad would have used in his tool tray long ago, with this little bubble here. And we apply a string onto this tool and bring it up to your forehead to make sure that the bubble is in the centre and that the string will give us a good idea. Oh my God, am I off centre? No, I'm not. In relation to whether one eyebrow is higher than the other. And it's attached, you get, every client obviously gets a new piece of string. There's a new piece of string attached every time. Alrighty, this is our Fibonacci gauge, and what that does is that it measures, as a Roman numeral 1.618, and you put one point of it to the middle of your forehead. Then the next one corresponding shows us exactly where the arch should be, and then the last one will show us where the end of the tail will be. So we use that as well. Right, next tool. I don't use this one as much because I find the other tools are far better, but you can measure your eyebrow within the box to make sure that the start, the top level, and the tail are within that square, and the one across, make sure that both eyebrows are at the same height. And this isn't one that I use that much, but we do have it, and it's actually it was a very handy tool that we had in the early days. This is the one that I use the most. This actually looks like an instrument of torture, but it's actually another take on the Fibonacci gauge, which is the Roman numeral of 1.618. And I use this one probably the most. The middle bit goes is our guide as to find out where the arch is supposed to be. So this bit goes to the start of the brow. The start of the brow is always at the dimple of your nose here, and there's a line. I'm going to show you our digital tool now in a minute, and that's another guide for us as well. This goes to the start of the brow, this is the arch, and this is, oops, I've moved it. This is the tail. This is the one that I use the most. I absolutely love this. Is our guide as to find out where the arch is. Righty, we also use this gauge as well. Everybody gets a new one. And we measure the start to the end of the brow. And we turn it around and make sure that they're both exactly the same length. This is probably one of the most rudimentary of all the tools that I've used. And when I started doing makeup at Eyebrow, brow artistry in the early days, this was the only tool that I had. But now they're disposable. We practically use one for everybody, and they're thrown out after it. After every client, I mean. Don't leave any of that to happenstance. There is even further digital programs that we use in order to do your facial morphology. And in doing that, we apply a sticky ruler onto your face. Here's one here. And we will have already outlined where the center of your eye, in between your eyebrows are. We'll have developed and we'll have known where your axis is using the other tool. And then we apply this sticky ruler on the line, this line here, going across the axis to make sure that the eyebrows are on the correct axis, the potential eyebrow. So we apply the sticky ruler. I'm not going to apply it now because my face, it'll take the hairs off my face. It'll take my eyebrow hairs off as well, the few that I've left. And we use a digital tool. I'm going to show it to you now, but I can't show it to you physically because it's actually on my phone and I'm using my phone for Instagram now. But what it does is that it actually takes a snapshot of your face. It uses a red line going down. I'll show you a photograph of it now, actually. I'll put it here so that it'll show you the line going down, the red line going down your middle of your face. It'll show the lines going across. And our guides are, a white line goes across the upper part of your pupil, another parallel line goes through the lower part of your pupil, the next parallel line used to go through your lips, but everybody is covered in masks now, goes through the lower eyelid, and then we bring the final line down to see if they're both at the same height. And if they are, great, we'll just go ahead and do the microblading, and if they're not, well then we make the changes that we need to do. So how do we raise one side more than the other? So say, for example, if this is the lower side, basically we put microbladed hair strokes up above the upper part of the eyebrow as far as the arch, remove eyebrow hairs underneath here. And say, for example, that this is your higher eyebrow and we bring this down slightly. So we raise this one slightly, we bring this down slightly. So what we would do is that we would do most of the eyebrow microblading underneath the eyebrow, and we'd remove a couple of hairs here on top, and that'll make you even. So yeah, so I hope that helps. It's ideal way for you to see how we actually do our work. If having one eyebrow higher than the other really bothers you, why don't you come for a consultation and just book in? The books are open from September for new clients, but it's a perfect way for you to see, do you want to go down the road of microblading and have it done in a permanent way, or are you happy continuing on with your pencils and powders, which a lot of people are. A consultation is usually 50 minutes long, and what we do is that we go through your history with you, we draw on your potential brow, we do the patch test, and then you go away to talk to your family, and you can contact us then afterwards and decide whether you want to come and have your microblading done. Oftentimes people, go away to think about it, and I might not see them again for another year, and then they say, oh, I've been meaning to come back to you. But COVID put pay to an awful lot of that. But anyway, just so that you know that help is out there, and an hour out of your day to explore, is this for you, is probably a perfect way to go. And I'd highly encourage that. And if I never see you again, well, at least you tried and you decided that no, it's not for you. And now you know.